and they really played it up. I mean, let's be real here. They played the shit, you know, like pageantry and the masquerade ball. I think they said they were going to have some of the props from the actual masquerade ball in the show, and it was just going to be all extravagant. So I guess in my head, I'm thinking about, ooh, you know, like, ooh, you're episode 7, you know, the only thing missing is the Scooby-Doo gang, you know, but I'm going to be there. So I got a photo op with Michael Trevino, okay, and I got the masquerade ball, and what I thought was so effed up was that you had to buy an admission, right? So you had to buy a general admission ticket and then purchase a separate event ticket, you know, in order to go. And I was just like, why can't you just chop that in half and it gets you in for Saturday admission and the ball, right? I don't know. It's weird. But, yeah, so for me, that's all I had, right? And I'm glad that I did not spend extra money like so many of those good people that attended EyeCon, that spent an obscene amount. Like, I can't even imagine if you got photo ops with, like, all the cast or, you know, Salvatore Brothers, plus the celebrity banquet, plus the carnival, plus the shit, plus the every damn circus thing they had going on that weekend, you know. My complaint, those people were rude. They were so freaking rude. You know, if you're listening, EyeCon, Kenny, and the rest of the crew, y'all were rude. And I don't know, maybe you need to go back to square one, give a compliance or a little orientation, you know, speech. Talk about how you don't need to be grabbing people. You know what I'm saying? Don't grab people, okay? Don't grab, don't pull, don't, because yeah, don't do that. You know, don't yell at people if they ask a question. You know, this is their first time at a hotel. I mean, this is their first time at this event. This is the first time that they shit. Some of these people were from Germany and Paris and everywhere else. You know, I mean, you're supposed to be kind to these people that has paid you XYZ amount of money, and they didn't. Okay, they didn't. There was so much miscommunication. There was so much, well, you know, tables couldn't get in the vendor room because, oh, it's another event and we have to wait till that event is over to get. Man, get your shit together. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't pleased. I was not pleased by a lot of things that occurred, and I cannot wait till I start taking phone calls. And not only do we talk about Know Thy Enemy, which, thank God, comes out next week. Woohoo! TGI Thursdays are back for Vampire Diaries. It comes out next Thursday. And then, you know, to hear people, what they have to say, because I'm only coming from it, you know, from a perspective of first time, and I have masquerade and I have the ball ticket. I mean, the masquerade and the general admission ticket. I really want to hear from people who spent out of their freaking, I don't know, spent their whole paycheck on this thing, you know, and people who just, from a vendor's perspective or a sponsor's perspective or whatever. I think it's important that we utilize this forum and talk about how shitty a lot of the things that were done were. Okay.
The convention, the way the staff put it up, the way they kept screwing every freaking thing up was really frustrating. For, like me, I paid a shit ton, forgive me, I paid a bunch of money to go to this event, and, you know, the best time I had, you know, was meeting the actors, you know, meeting Ian, meeting Paul Wesley, meeting all of them, meeting all of you guys, hanging out with Chloe. Chloe, I don't know if you're listening, but mad props to you, girl. You are fantastic. Yeah. But the getting pushed around, like I was physically pushed around by members of the EyeCon staff, and man, are they lucky I didn't slap them, because I'm sorry, nobody pushes me around. And that was so unprofessional. That was so unprofessional. And the way they treated fans, hurting them like cattle, I'm sorry, they're not God. Ugh. But other than that, you know, ugh.
You know, I was ready. I gave that. Jason can tell you, I was ready to flip some tables around them. Like, you need to step off. Like, seriously, I don't know. I gave a look. I did. Yeah, I was very frustrated.
And I mean, and V, I read that blog that was written about the event, and the way that, you know, V, you were disrespected, would not have, you paid and didn't get any of your stuff up there. That was a complete disrespect to you. That was horribly bad. And, you know, you kept your cool as best you could. And I respect you so much for that, V. I mean, seriously, I respect you so much. And you're not the only one. Everybody was disrespected, and everybody needed to shut the hell up and realize this is for the fans, not for anybody else, you know? I mean, even the actors were getting pissed.
Yeah.
I mean,
because it's like, you know, like for a volleyball game, for instance, right? And Sobe and all these Coke sponsors them. When you walk into the volleyball game, what the hell you gonna see? You gonna see Sobe everywhere, Coke everywhere. I mean, let's be real here. So if I'm paying my good goddamn earned money, okay, I'm paying you XYZ, I'm expecting to see my VampireDiaries.net somewhere. I mean, shit, you wouldn't have even known that VampireDiaries.net was a sponsor. You know what I'm saying? And that's the part that pisses me off. The second part that pisses me off is that you couldn't even contact these damn people. You know how I was able to ask them a question about the photo op since they, you know, email don't work and all that kind of stuff? Text message. On their website it said the best way to get in contact with us is a text message. I texted and got a response right away about the photo op from Autumn. Yeah, that's her name. From Autumn. I was like, really? This is a convention. This is not some kind of like, you know, dance party USA type shit. You know, like, this is serious. You know, so.
I mean, the Masquerade Ball, I mean.
Oh, Lord. It was bad.
The Masquerade Ball, let me just say, that's the first time I was pushed, was at the Masquerade Ball. It was so crowded in there. I mean, I know three things mainly that were bad with the Masquerade Ball. One, I have to give credit to Josh. He tried his best to make it work with the Masquerade Ball, but sticking an iPod to a speaker doesn't make it a DJ event. I mean, I'm sorry. Yes, that is exactly what they did. And, you know, I give him credit. I really do. Josh was amazing. He was the MC at the event, and he was fantastic. I love him with my heart and soul.
Actually, that's a really good point. I didn't go as press. I requested a few times. I sent them emails. I asked them if we could get in as press, obviously because we cover the show. I never heard back from anybody. And the funny thing is when I got there, you know, I had talked to somebody and they looked at me like, I said, okay, well, where's the press? You know, are we able to get up and walk around? And they were like, I don't know what you're talking about. So when I was shooting footage, I had my tripod, you know, directly in the center, and I got as close as I could. I couldn't get any closer because I hadn't purchased the, you know, like $400 premium pass. But what happened was I got up in the middle of Paul's thing, and I went over to the side wall where everybody else was standing, and I tried to get footage closer up. Well, as soon as I started recording, this lady grabs me, and she's like, I'm sorry, but you need to go back to your seat. She just yelled at me. I got to, like, grab my arm, and I'm like, are you serious? And I was so mad. I mean, I was furious, and I think if anybody was following me on Twitter, that's when I started talking about
they started letting loose on Twitter.
Yeah, so I just didn't get access, and I understand they're not going to prove anybody or everybody, but I couldn't get any sort of access to anything. I couldn't even stand closer during the actual panel, so that was a bummer.
Wow.
Did my best.
You see what I'm talking about? That grabbing, that physical. I mean, really, I don't understand. That's what I don't get. Like, y'all basically took advantage of the fact that you had on a, you know, 100% cotton tee that was bought at Walmart and plastered with EyeCon stuff on it. I mean, you took advantage of the fact that, you know, you are working at a place where you're going to be dealing with people, so you felt like, oh, I can manhandle people? Girl, look,
Bodyguard was a complete just disaster. When I was getting my picture with Paul, he literally grabbed me and pulled me to Paul, and he goes, move it, move it. So then I'm like, okay. So I take my picture, and then he goes, you have to go. And I was like, okay then, damn.
Right.
And then the private auction autograph signing thing, that was a complete fraud. I'm sorry, but I did not pay $400 to go in there and literally get 5 seconds with Steven and Ian.
Wow. $400, 5 seconds. Well, I know Ian, I mean, not Ian, Steven had recorded, right, for your blog? Didn't he do like a little, you know,
Well, I was in line because they gave me 2 autograph things that I could get signed. So I was in line with Ian, and then I see Steven, and he calls me over. So I'm like, hi, Steven. And then I'm like, oh, my goodness, can you do me a favor and record a video for my blog? And he goes, yeah, of course. Well, that bodyguard, what's his name? Larry, I think? Yeah, Larry. He goes, no video, no pictures, no nothing. And I look at him, and I'm like, okay. And Steven goes, excuse me, I'm taking a video with her. So then the buddy kind of looked up. He was like, excuse me, no. So then Steven recorded my video, and then I went over to Ian, and then Ian wanted to do a video too. And the same bodyguard was like, no video, you can't take any video, blah, 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 blah. I was like, excuse me, no. And then finally he was like, whatever, he just let me take the video. But, yeah, he was a complete ass.
Because I completely agreed with everything that was going on about him, because I thought he was a total jerk about it. Because when I had seen Michael, I was, like, really nervous to, like, even talk to him, but he, like, knew who I was. He was like, no way, Andre, and he gives me this huge hug, and I'm, like, shaking, and the guy's like, hey, no hug, picture, and I was like, I didn't even see that to me, and they were like, I didn't like that bodyguard at all.
You know, here San Diego, it's good, then but EyeCon ruined it. You know, it's much money for me that it was just, I'm just kind of crazy disappointing. And so 2 people who had platinum tickets, little to no difference between Mike, and they paid so much more than me. And I was just kind of shocked that the whole thing was handled. Just utterly disappointed.
Yeah, that was my point, too, because I had a platinum ticket, so I paid $255 just for my ticket. And then when we were doing the line to go, like, the photo ops and stuff like that, there was no organization at all. They were, like, just like, you know, if whatever ticket you have, just go to the back. And I'm here, and I'm like, you know, I just paid $255, you know, for this ticket. It's giving me no rewards at all. Like, I could just have the general admission ticket, and I would have the exact same things.
No.
And that's why I was so pissed.
That's why I was thinking. And they moved the seating and everything around, and I just found, like, all the line waiting and everything. It wasn't, you know, like, for people that kind of money, they should have, like, you know what I mean? Like, they should feel like, wow, I spent the money and I'm getting what I'm getting, not just, like, a full, you know, kind of mediocre thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because it wasn't worth $205, I mean, at all. Like, that's not the price that it should have been.
Other sites that sponsored the event that maybe feel the same way, I'm not going to speak for them. I do feel like I owe everybody an apology. If I had known what I know now, obviously, we would have never, ever promoted this convention the way we did. I think it was a prime example of greed at its worst. Here's my thing. If you're going to do, and I know that EyeCon, I guess, is primarily known as a celebrity autograph convention. Nothing wrong with that. Totally fine. Those kind of conventions are best suited for smaller crowds. If you're going to have, first of all, if you don't want to have a vendor room or don't want to do events, then don't do them. Period. There was so little thought put into actually making it a fandom experience.